I'm sorry.
to record
Oh, thank goodness.
your history lesson tonight.
That's okay.
Awesome. Okay. It being the evening of September 22nd at 7 o'clock and a quorum being present, we're going to call a meeting of the Bellingham Conservation Commission to order. Pursuant to Governor Baker's signing of Senate Bill 2475, an act relating to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, the Bellingham Conservation Commission will meet utilizing the Zoom online option. Instructions and invitations are available at the town website at www.bellinghamma.org. Moving forward in this meeting, the chair instructs the meeting administrator to withhold access to speak at the meeting until or unless such persons requesting to speak are visible on screen and respectfully request such access. Okay. The first item on the agenda is 455 Hartford Avenue. The applicants for 455 Hartford Avenue have withdrawn the notice of intent. Therefore, no further action is required from the commission. The notice of intent was withdrawn without prejudice, so of course they're free to refile at any time. The next item we have is the roadway drainage improvements for Curtis Apartment. I will read the advertisement for that. Bellingham Conservation Commission will hold public hearings in accordance with the Mass Wetlands Protection Act, General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bellingham Wetlands Protection Bylaw on the notice of intent for the proposed roadway mitigation along the site frontage entrances to Curtis Apartment as required by Mass DOT, including installation of additional catch basins and connecting to the existing system at the easterly end of the site and within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands. The site is located at Assessor's Map 51, parcels 4, 4A, 4B, 6, and 8 at 161, 163, and 167 Mechanic Street, Bellingham. Keith Lincoln, Chapel Engineering Associates, Boston Post Road, Marlborough, has submitted the filing on behalf of Russell Dean, Campanelli, 1 Campanelli Drive, Braintree. The continuations will be held on the evening of Wednesday, September 22nd at 7:05. The applicants are in receipt of our peer review letter and have requested a continuation so they can address the concerns. And I must say that our administrator, when having a conversation with the applicant's representative, highlighted the fact that many of those items that showed up in the peer review letter were items that were noticed during the commission's site inspection of a month and a half ago. So that being said, I will entertain a motion to continue the hearing to the evening of October 27th at 7 o'clock.
So moved.
Noel.
Second.
Ariane. Okay. Any discussion? As per usual, I'll have to poll the members individually so there's no confusion. So Noel.
Aye.
Brian.
Aye.
Mr. Vice Chairman.
Aye.
Ariane.
Aye.
Okay, that's a unanimous vote. Oh, Brian. Didn't I say Brian?
Yeah, you asked me.
Okay, okay.
I said aye.
All right. Very good. I know it's a little unusual for us to have so many hearings jammed into the front of the meeting, but due to the fact that we've had so many requests for continuation the day of the hearing, we needed to do this in order to preserve our timeline and to make as efficient use as possible for our applicants, our abutters, our interested parties, and to the commission. So we'll move forward with the next regularly scheduled hearing. The Bellingham Conservation Commission will hold public hearings in accordance with the Mass Wetlands Protection Mass Wetlands Protection Act, General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, on the notice of intent for pavement rehabilitation, sidewalk construction and reconstruction, drainage improvements and widening for bicycle accommodation, including activities in the 100-foot buffer zone, deboarding vegetated wetlands, inland bank and riverfront areas to a perennial stream located on Route 126 South Main Street from Douglas Drive to Route 126 McKenna Street, Bellingham. John Morgan, CHA Consulting, Norwell, Mass. has submitted the filing on behalf of Don DiMartino, Bellingham DPW, Blackstone Street, Bellingham. The continuations will be held on the evening of Wednesday, September 22nd at 7:05. And I think John is here. Jim is here.
Yeah, this is Andrew Valkovic. I'm filling in for John right now. He's on the line actually, but I'll be handling the presentation today.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess I can just jump right in.
Yeah, if you'll, I'm sure you'll need to share your screen.
Yeah, I'll do that. Let me see.
Yeah,
Share.
Noel, if you would allow, please. Thank you.
I think I have permission. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, so when we left the commission at our last hearing a month ago, you folks expressed two concerns, mainly centering around two discharge points that we will be increasing the flow to. The first being at the southern project limits. This is the southern project limits. There's a stream unnamed tributary to Peters Brook, flows from west to east, that we are outletting to, and we will be replacing the outlet there. So that was the first area of concern, and the second outlet was just north of that, about 1,500 feet, where there's a 18-inch culvert that we'll be outletting into. This is kind of near old Wegner's farm. So the concerns the commission has was at this outlet here was about scour protection going into the stream due to the increase in flows, and as well as water quality treatment. And at this outlet here, I believe the primary concern was water quality treatment for this outlet. So we took a look at that with the town. We went out and we did some test pits on the property of 985 South Main Street. And if anyone has, if I'm going too fast or if I'm missing anything, just feel free to cut me off. We went out and did some site investigation on the property in 985 South Main Street to see if we could provide some additional stormwater treatment here in the form of infiltration basin, a bioretention basin, similar to what we have proposed at the middle school. So we did some test pits, and we found that we had pretty high groundwater, and any surface basin that we would build would probably end up being wet most of the year. So there's certain concerns associated with that, being that it's so close to the residential area. So we decided against going with kind of a big drainage basin, installing one over here on the property of 985 South Main Street. And we decided to go with a plunge pool, which was recommended by the commission. So we've added a plunge pool at this outlet. We'll be abandoning the existing outlet, which outlets through the culvert wing wall. I got a picture of the existing outlet here. So this is a picture of the existing outlet that we will be abandoning, and we'll be shifting it just to the east of this wing wall and installing a stone plunge pool. Prior to that discharge, though, we will be also adding a hydrodynamic separator unit that will help treat the water, get some TSS removal prior to the discharge to the stream. So those are the main improvements that we've made at that outlet. Continuing at the other outlet, we've added a hydrodynamic separator prior to discharge to the existing 18-inch culvert here. So we provided plans to the commission. I believe they were sent yesterday, so folks probably haven't a chance to have too close of a look at it. So without further ado, I guess I can take any questions that you have.
Okay, as you stated, the problems that we discovered in the field were that we had multiple sources of direct discharge of stormwater runoff into resource areas. And of course, one of the things we're trying to do with this project, especially to the northern end, is to assist the town in the attainment of the MS4 requirements. And so, you know, we'll start at the South Basin because that's where you have the plan up. So you're addressing and mitigating to some extent velocity of the discharge, but it'll also be mitigated by your proprietary mechanical structure there. So, you know, we had no idea what the soil conditions were in the field. Of course, you know, we don't have X-ray vision. So you provided the soil tests 44 inches below grade. You need a minimum of 2 feet of separation. That's 24 inches. The basin, in order to handle that volume of water, would have been huge, right in somebody's front yard.
Exactly.
So I think the commission understands that you're doing the best you can in a tight situation, but it is stormwater management improvement. And this is what we always look for in a project like this with a roadway redevelopment project. And then moving up to the Wenger area. Yeah. Okay. So what we had there was a couple of catch bases that were just into the drain line, and then a direct discharge. And there's not much you could do there without a major taking due to the grades at the Wenger property. So one of the things that we have learned from our inspection is that maintenance is going to be really, really important. Now, operation and maintenance plan, refresh my memory. Did you, I think in the filing you had a basic operation and maintenance plan?
Correct.
All right, so these two items, especially now because we're dealing with proprietary mechanical structures, these will have to be added to the operation and maintenance plan. And maintenance is going to be important so that we just don't have a continuation of silt accumulation in the catch basins and then overflow and sheet flow across, you know, people's properties and into resource areas. Now, I understand curbing is going to be critical in assisting with this, but I think I saw DPW Director Martino was here. Don, are you okay with this kind of a system?
Yeah, we've been, you know, Drew's been in contact with me all along, and it is, I think it's the best we can do with the space we have available.
Yeah, there's not a lot of wiggle room here, and we certainly appreciate the effort to make improvements to stormwater discharge, however minimal. So this is a step in the right direction. I'm gonna ask for your forbearance and have an opportunity to, you know, look at the plans in depth. As you said, I got a chance to look at them quickly this afternoon. But it appears to be in order. Does anyone on the commission have any questions for the applicant or for Don? Oh, I don't hear it. So I guess, Andrew, that means you did okay.
Great.
All right. So in order for us to thoroughly review the plans, we're going to continue this to our next meeting. We've already conducted a site visit. We're familiar with the property. We know the locations where the structures are going to be placed. So I think it's just a question of the commission taking the opportunity to review the plans. You will have to get us that revised O&M plan. Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
And revised plans.
In the hard copy of the revised plans. Do you have the hard copy? Okay, so we'll need hard copy of the revised plans.
PDFs too,
Well, you have the PDFs, right? Didn't he send you the PDFs?
I think, I don't know.
Okay, well, Andrew, did you guys send us the PDFs on this? I think you did.
Yeah, we sent it to Anne.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
thank you.
Yep.
And-
That was from Jay Hall. Sent those to you.
Okay.
got it, okay. You can't believe the volume of plans that we're receiving.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, and have you sent the hard copy?
We have not sent a hard copy.
So if you'll send two or one,
Two.
two, please, on the hard copy and the revised O&M plan. And I think we should be in pretty good shape at our next meeting.
Do you want just the revised sheets, or do you want a whole set?
Whole set, please.
Plans.
Okay.
It gets a little unwieldy trying to unstaple and replace, and things can get mixed up and.
I hear you.
So we'll put the onus on you to give us the full set. All right. Hearing no questions, I will entertain a motion to continue the hearing for South Main Street redevelopment to the evening of October 13th at 8:05.
So moved.
Brian,
Second.
Noel. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor? I'll poll the members. Noel,
Aye.
Mr. Vice Chairman.
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Marianne.
Aye.
Okay, by unanimous vote.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Okay. Okay. Proceeding to the next scheduled public hearing. The Bellingham Conservation Commission will hold continuations of public hearings in accordance with the Mass Wetlands Protection Act, General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bellingham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, and the notice of intent for earthwork, landscaping, and stormwater management facilities within the 100-foot and 50-foot buffer zone associated with construction of a multifamily residential development entitled Hartford Village 2, located at Assessors Map 23, Parcel 6, Hickson Street, Bellingham. Drew Govan, Andrews Survey and Engineering, Menden Street, Uxbridge, has submitted the final on behalf of K&S Realty Trust, Stallbrook Road, Milford. The continuations will be held via the Zoom online option on Wednesday, September 22nd at 7:10. All right. Per our representations at our previous meeting, an order of conditions has been developed. It has been distributed to members for review. Hearing no comments, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing and sign and issue the prepared order of conditions.
So moved.
Marianne,
I second.
Okay, Noel. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. Okay, Noel,
Aye.
Mr. Vice Chairman,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and Ariane.
Aye.
Okay, by unanimous vote. What our plan here is, Brett, is we have a physical site inspection scheduled for October 2nd. So the plan will be for us to bring the document to that inspection and we'll get the signatures then. Have you already made arrangements with the administrator where the documents to be sent?
Yes.
You have.
Yes, I believe that I was instructed to send those to the condominium trust. And I haven't, and I'm to copy those to Brad Wright. I think that's what the instructions were.
Okay. If that's,
To Brad Wright. Yep. I was just writing some notes. Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
we're all good.
So from here, you're going to do a site investigation just to cross your T's and dot the I's on the order of conditions.
Oh, I'm sorry. The site investigation is for a different project.
Oh,
So what we're going to do is part of our site inspection for a different project. We'll bring the document for signature
okay.
because we will not be going back out. We've been out there enough.
Okay.
So you're off the hook.
Okay. Thank you. So any action from here from our side of the table?
We lost you.
No, it's okay. I was just saying anything, any further action required from our side of the table?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we're good to go. All right. Next item on the agenda is the request for extension of an order of conditions submitted by Jeff Curley, WS Development, for the shops at Bellingham. Okay. Okay, I see Jeff is here. Do you have information to provide or to add to the discussion at the last meeting?
Just to give the commission a general update, we did last week meet again with representatives from the town and Mass DOT to talk a little bit more about the detail around the roadway design and improvements. A meeting's been scheduled by the DOT with representatives from Federal Highway the end of next week to confirm their input on design criteria for improvements in the corridor. So this is all in an effort, as I tried to explain last time, to advance and to confirm an understanding of a roadway project that will support the development here, roadway improvements on Route 126 that will support some scope of development on the parcel behind Home Depot, the subject parcel here. And while we advance those conversations and get more and more certainty around the scope of those improvements and the ability to execute on those improvements and provide the needed capacity, we have every intention of coming forward to amend our existing order and to file for a project on the property out back. But we really continue to work with Administrator Frayne, Planner Kupfer, and folks from Mass DOT to just confirm that we do have a viable roadway project that before we get too far out ahead of ourselves. So we request the extension in order to have a little bit more time to confirm the scope of those improvements. We have every intention of moving forward with filings locally with the town over the next handful of months, likely by the end of this year, if things continue to go as positively as they have with regard to the roadway progress. So that's the update I have for the commission. Happy to field any further questions.
Okay. Mr. Vice Chairman, I think yeah, you made the motion at the last hearing to table the request pending additional information. Do you have any questions for the applicant or?
I don't have any questions, no.
Okay. Now, the regulations are pretty nebulous when it comes to granting extensions in terms of timeframes. The maximum amount of time that can be allowed is 3 years. There is no minimum amount of time. I want to make that point. Anybody on the commission have any other questions, any other comments?
When was the original extension filed?
The original extension on the order of conditions was,
Is it the 2019 one?
yeah, it wasn't. I'm looking for the date. I have it here somewhere.
Had to be around 18.
8/22/19, August 22nd. Now, it was a 1-year extension, but due to COVID, there was an additional tolling period, which provided almost 5 additional months. So
That was the last.
that was the last extension, yes.
Is Dennis raising his hand?
Does that mean I can speak?
Sure.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me. Just to echo what Jeff has said, we apologize for not keeping you in the loop on this. We've been working with Mass DOT and actually a federal agency that's managing some of the stimulus money right now, the Economic Development Administration. We have a local administrator that we have had Zoom meetings with, and we're looking at some serious grant funds that will allow us to do some real improvements on Hartford Avenue from the southbound ramp, not the interchange itself, but if you can picture that southbound ramp going towards the four-way stop with what used to be a four-way stop, now it's signalized, but where the mobile gas station is. As you know, there are some homes there that were purchased by Kevin Meehan, and they've been abandoned. He's provided us funding to do survey work there with the hope of granting us easements so that we can do some widening there. It's about, all told, it's about $7 million worth of work, and we're confident after having these sessions that Representative Soder was good enough to put together that we're actually very competitive in securing these funds. But the wild card is they need to be tied to economic development. And one of the things that we've been touting is the fact that this is a project that's been on the books for a long time. It has a valid order of conditions. And if that weren't not continued, it certainly would put a fly in the ointment for this project. So we would ask that you give this favorable consideration. I've asked Jeff to come in if it is extended, if the permission is granted to extend it a year, to come in 6 months, an update at that time, and I'll be there. I'll ask Don to be there, and we can share with you what's going on as far as the grant process, the access improvements, et cetera. So that's the ask. And again, I apologize that we didn't keep you updated over the last 6 months or so since we've been working on this.
Thank you.
So sorry, let me gather my thoughts. In the case of the extension not be granted, these grants that the state is offering, can they be reapplied for under a new order or new notice?
absolutely things could be reapplied for, but there's a tight window. There's a lot of money right now that the state and the federal government have to spend in a fairly short period of time. And what they look for are projects that are ready to go, or at least reasonably ready to go, not pie in the sky. Not unlike the work that we did at Maple Street and Route 140, what we're doing in the town center. Those are projects that had been designed and were at least close to being ready to go. This is a little different. It's tied to economic development. It's the Economic Development Administration that's managing these stimulus funds, federal funds, and without where will be the grant needs to be submitted over the next couple of months, and without an order of conditions or some indication that this project is real and viable, we don't have a chance.
What about a notice of intent for a new project? Because it doesn't sound like the order of conditions would apply to the work that you're proposing based on the stipulations.
It's not going to apply to the work that we're proposing, but it's the grants are tied to economic development, and like what they like to see, what they require really are projects that are they say shovel ready, but nobody's ever shovel ready because no one's going to spend all the money it takes to get a project out to bid without knowing you're going to get the grant. So we all know how long an order of conditions on a project this size takes. It's not something that happens in a month or two. It's something that takes a considerable amount of time. So starting over again would certainly be an issue.
Mike Soder wants to speak. Yes, you can. I guess I'm running the show now.
Yes, thank you very much. This is Representative Soder, and I really didn't want to speak tonight, but I just wanted to just address and I think all of you know that I came into the selectman office in Bellingham in 2011. This has been a long-standing project. We are finally at the stages of where we actually are getting real money put into this project. And I understand the concerns of extending this, but I do also want to address the fact that we are in an opportunity to add on and fix we all know is a major concern for many people for many years, is this part of Hartford Ave. And this is just the beginning stages of what possibly will be continuing to fix a overall major reconstruction of development. If we do not get this tonight, I can absolutely assure you, these funds will not be available. Doesn't mean that the project still won't happen. It's just that your project won't happen without, and truthfully, if you really look at it, they don't necessarily, they could figure out a way to still continue to do this project. But what these funds will do to our availability is expand, take care of the current situation that we have with the growth that we've had over the last probably 20 years since this project's been discussed and this area has been discussed, but also continue to expand and open up any expansion and future expansion. This is real money. I put a lot of work into finding the right avenues for us to get immediate funding. And I just want to not to add any more stress onto the situation, but one thing I can say is that everybody's working very diligently to make sure the taxpayers are saving on the cost of a lot of this expansion. And that's what's great about these grants, is that it does not come onto the local taxpayer through property taxes, through debt exclusions, et cetera, when we have to do these expansions. This is about $7.5 to $8 million, like Dennis said, and this is real money. And we really, I can't stress enough how important it is that I ask you to please certainly consider this. And, I think WS is very well intended of coming in 6 months to give you an update, more of a better perspective of where we are moving forward. So I would ask you that you approve it, and I would ask that you work with me to bring what ultimately would be an ultimate better way of life, I think, for us moving forward and expanding something I think that is desperately needs to be done. So thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. Cliff, do we have to give a year extension, or could we do like a 6-month one? And
Well, that's an interesting idea, Ariane.
Cliff, if I may, truthfully, it has to be a year because this project gets approved over, it has to show that they have a viable move through. So I just wanted to chime in there. It does have to be a year.
Well, you see, if we go 6 months, then we're guaranteed a seat at the table. We go
Cliff, I can assure you, you will always have a seat at the table.
Well, those assurances have fallen on deaf ears to date. In fact, it's been kind of a source of frustration here. However, you know, I think, well, I need to see what I think that Ariane's idea was good. In 6 months, if progress is made, and we can see the benefit of the extension, I think that's something that can be reevaluated in 6 months' time. But if we, in 6 months, if we're still at a 10% design, the money's not forthcoming, we're extending ourselves. Let me put it this way. If we don't extend the order of conditions, it is a legally unassailable position due to the circumstances of no work being performed. However, in the interest of public service, once again, the commission could extend itself, but I like Ariane's idea because it guarantees, and really, is a federal agency going to look at when the expiration of an extension is, or are they going to look at the fact that a valid permit is in place?
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
I'm of 2 minds on the extension. Well, I'm of 3 minds at least. I don't really see the difference between a 6-month and a year extension from our point of view in terms of putting ourselves out.
my thought process with that was that we could just get an update if we weren't hearing anything from them, on just like how the process is going.
Yeah, and I get that, Ariane. I get it. But it just puts another layer on us at that point. And, you know, to be honest, I give anything happening by 6 months of 50-50 anyway. I give anything by a year 50-50, just based on being a bit of a glasses half empty kind of guy. And based on this project to date, we've heard a lot of promises about funding and DOT and all these things, you know, bills that were moving through the State House and all that, and nothing has materialized in, you know, 10 years. So I'm pretty confident that probably nothing's going to happen in the next year anyway. So I don't see a problem with extending it a year as is.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to calendar a 6-month update with the commission tonight, if we want to go ahead and put that on the calendar, and I'll commit to come back to provide an update. I will tell you that the reality between a 6-month and a 1-year extension here is that if we're to embark, as we anticipate we will, on a full entitlement process for a project back here with an order of conditions that could expire in the middle of that permitting effort that we all know is likely to take longer than 6 months. It's going to take every bit of a year to get us through. That's a tenuous position for us to be in. So I respectfully request a year. I think it's appropriate for the scale of the project and the permit effort we have before us. And I will absolutely calendar a revisit with the commission tonight if we want to put that on a March meeting 6 months from now. I'm happy to do that and come back and provide an update. Notwithstanding Mr. Stanley's position, I hope to have an application into you before that 6 month period. But I recognize not all that is in my control.
Or even like correspondence between you and the representatives, like a physical document that's dated that has indications of progress.
I'd like to hear from a couple of other members. We've heard from 2 members, and so, Noel, Brian,
members.
anything to say? Well, 3 members, yeah. Of course, I don't vote unless it's a tie. Anything, Brian, any thoughts?
Well, I'd just like to make one statement that, you know, I realize it's a great thing for the town, but financial considerations aren't really anything that comes into play with our decisions. I think that Neil's probably on the, I like Gary Ann's idea better, I think, to come back for 6 months and we'll know if something's happening. If it's not, then, you know, we can evaluate it again at that point.
Noel?
I recognize the commission always ends up being relatively later informed. It's not having trouble with my word tonight.
Okay.
I don't appreciate, you know, having to grant extensions. It's, you know, a bit unfair on the commission's part. But this is a big project. And I'm pretty torn.
Okay, well, so
Cliff, this is Representative Soto again. If I could just add one more thing. A part of this grant is this gets completed. This project totally gets completed. And the part of this grant is that the whole project has to be totally completed, done 5 years. So, you know, I can assure you that if you, and this is just a suggestion, is that you grant the 1 year with the stipulation and put the date in the books to get an update to the board in 6 months of where WS is with the project. WS is in the process of hiring the consultants and what they need to do for the grant process. I can assure you, Commissioner Neal, I can understand that. You know, I think he knows me well enough to know I've been working very hard on this, and I'm tired of the excuses of where the grant process goes. I can assure you that this was a lot of work on my part, my office's part, to figure out a funding mechanism that's going to be beneficial to the town, and working with the congressman to find the money to handle this. So I think WS, I think they, and I'm not speaking for them, but I think if you did a year extension with a 6 month review of where we are with the project, you get the best of both worlds. It handles the suggestion I think that was there, and it also gives us a better idea of where we are, and we're going to hear fairly quickly once this application goes in that this project can move forward and it's going to get the funding. So But I have to just reiterate to everybody that this is 5 years from the day they give us the approval. It's 5 years completion. So they get the approval, they go through the process, they go through what they need to do, they put it out to bid, and it has to be 5 years completion. So if they don't, we don't get the funding. If there's no way to show that and no way to do that, WS is going to be very diligent, I can assure you. And they understand the gravity of the situation, that they have to be on top of this. So giving you a review in 6 months with, you know, if you did a year with a 6-month stipulation is not out of the ordinary. And I think WS pretty much already agreed to that, to put a date on the table for you. That's just my last final words. Thank you, Cliff.
Sure. Okay. I just want to point out that when you grant an extension, it's not like an order. You can't put conditions on an extension. What you're doing is you're extending the original order of conditions. That's it. So you can't, there is no requirement other than, you know, good faith. It's not a binding condition. So we have a couple thought processes here. You know, we've discussed this at length at our previous meeting and tonight. We've heard all the information. I guess what we're looking at here, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, if it's a 5-year completion project, the order will probably expire because no work will have been done on the site. Then what they want is they need the valid permit to obtain the funds. And so, you know, I mean, I think that's exactly where it is.
But isn't the permit not for this work?
For what work area?
The work involved that they're going to get funding for?
No, this is an off-site improvement in order for them to be able to access the site.
Okay.
All right.
Can we extend the extension?
Well, I cannot imagine the expense, and you know, if the bypass road is omitted, then you know WS saves, you know, $15–20 million. So I really don't know. I think we pretty much laid it out. This is the deal. So I think we've talked about it. I need someone to make a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we extend for a year.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, I'll roll call vote. Mr. Vice Chairman.
Aye.
Ariane.
Aye.
Brian.
Aye.
Noel.
After everything, I vote aye.
Okay, by unanimous vote. 1 year.
Thank you. Thank you very much. From the town perspective, we appreciate it.
And you beat me to it. Let's exchange emails tomorrow and get a date on the calendar.
And I truly want to thank everybody on the commission. Thank you very much for the time. I truly appreciate it. This is Representative Soto. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks.
so who gets the extension? Jeff Curley?
Yeah, we'll send it to Jeff.
Okay,
Yes, please.
all right.
Thanks all.
On the agenda.
Hi, Jeff. What's next there, Mr. Chairman?
We have a proposed article for town meeting.
Where we go?
I think that,
Larry.
is that Larry Sposato there?
Yeah, I am here. I am here.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
we can hear you.
Good. Okay. Well, firstly, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak with you. And I know that you have already gone over time, so I'm going to try and keep you for a very brief time. I believe that Mrs. Matthews has sent you a copy of the article via email. And I just want to give you a brief history of why this is coming about. As you may know, I am president of the Lake Association for Lake Hiawatha. And again, as you know, that the lake is in actually two different towns. A small part of the lake is in Blackstone, but there are a number of houses that are in Blackstone. And what has happened, and it's the first time for Blackstone, as it would be for Bellingham, someone decided to open up an Airbnb at their house on the lake. And have the issue with it, there's a myriad of issues because they didn't get proper permitting and so on and so forth. They have a defunct septic system, so there's a whole lot of issues there. And the town of Blackstone is wrestling with that as we speak. But one of the primary issues is that there are no bylaws governing Airbnbs or short-term rentals in Blackstone nor in Bellingham. Now, the reason that I think this is a timely thing to do is because there are properties being bought up in Bellingham that could easily end up in the same boat. The same group of people are opening up, are purchasing properties in Bellingham. So rather than wait until we have the situation here in town, I thought that it would make better sense to preempt the problem and to have something on the books that we could, refer to, rather than have the situation occur and then try and put something in place and have to grandfather and so on and so forth. So that is the reason that I composed this bylaw. And you may say, okay, well, it doesn't have too much to do with conservation, but it kind of does, because you would be one of the agencies that would be contacted and that would have to give your approval as well, because particularly in a situation where there are wetlands or water bodies or whatever. And those are the areas, obviously, that they would probably pick first. The Silver Lake possibly, and here at Lake Hiawatha would probably be the primary areas. And just so you know, this the people that purchased the house in Blackstone have done multiple things without permitting, as I described, one of which is a stone wall in the lake. And obviously that wouldn't have fallen under your auspices because it is in Blackstone, but now the Blackstone Conservation Commission is kind of going crazy with trying to figure that one out. So this is, as I said, this is to me a common sense way to preempt a problem that could well occur in Bellingham and is probably imminent. We don't have anything, as I said, anything that refers to Airbnbs. I mean, they kind of, not only do we not have any in town, but as far as the town is concerned, they don't exist because we have no reference to them anywhere. And it could end up being a real problem because people, of course, see dollar signs in this whole thing. And I really fear that here at the lake, it would become a domino effect for that reason. And it would certainly change the character, and it would certainly change the enjoyment of living on the lake, because this one, believe me, has caused enough havoc already. So that's pretty much the background of it. I hope that you reviewed it, and basically I'm asking for your support.
Okay, what I'm going to do for the record is I'm going to read your article.
Fine.
Okay, this is a proposed warrant article for town meeting on November 17th. Is that a meeting night?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay, wow, we luck
That's the
out.
third, that's the third.
Okay. All right, it's to see if the town will vote to add a zoning bylaw providing that no property zoned in residential, suburban, or agricultural shall be short-term leased or rented for a period of less than 30 days unless specifically authorized by the zoning board of appeals through special use or variance with associated due process, applicable board reviews and permitting, and notwithstanding any grandfathering clauses. In comport with Mass General Law, any short-term lessor may be required to register with the Massachusetts Department of Revenue and to comply with the reporting and collection of all state and local taxes relative to short-term lodging. Now, normally and historically, the commission does not get involved in zoning bylaws, as we don't usually have a dog in the fight. However, we are property owners of two lakes in town, Jenks Reservoir and Silver Lake. And in our ongoing fight to make sure these water bodies are clean and viable for public use, we've undertaken a variety of measures, including upgrades to stormwater management systems on abutting properties, upgrades to septic systems on abutting properties, de-weeding for eliminating aquatic nuisance vegetation,
Goose control.
I'm sorry?
Goose control.
Oh yeah, goose control, yeah, well.
Thank you, Dennis.
So anyway, we look at this as something that might directly affect property we own and property we manage. Some might say it's an overreach, but I'll ask for opinions from the commission. I think personally I'm going to support this, whether or not the commission wants to sign on as a group. We'll get a consensus. Any comments?
I agree, it's an overreach.
Well, I think that we're entitled to protect our interests. This is a vehicle that could very well do that. Anyone else?
I would say I am in favor of this bylaw. I think Lake Hiawatha is pretty much at capacity for housing, everything, and adding in temporary residents would be a lot more stress on the lake and the water quality.
It's not just Lake Hiawatha, though. It's Silver Lake and Jenks Reservoir.
Okay.
So I mean, it's anywhere, actually. It's anywhere in town, but as far as we're concerned, it's our property's on the water.
How exactly does somebody renting a house for a week affect the water quality on the lake?
I was hoping you would ask that question. If you have a 3-bedroom house and you decide to put 2 queen-size beds in each bedroom, now you've doubled capacity for a septic system that isn't designed for that. And this is easily circumventable during the process if there's no oversight. And we regulate the addition of a room. The Board of Health and the Inspectional Services investigates an addition to a house to make sure it's not being turned into an extra bedroom. That would be for one person. So, I think that it's really, in terms of developing the property to accommodate guests, I don't know what would be involved in that. Primarily, I'm concerned about numbers of people utilizing existing infrastructure.
I think that could be handled more through a permitting and inspection process on properties as opposed to as a knee-jerk reaction to banning things.
This isn't a knee-jerk reaction.
Well, yes, it is.
This is a planning reaction.
It's a knee-jerk reaction.
No. This is planning in advance. Knee-jerk reaction is after the fact, where someone has gone in and you have a problem. Now there's a knee-jerk reaction to figure out what to do and get rid of it.
I'm gonna agree with Neil.
Mr.
because-
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, may I just say something when
Sure.
you're ready? Okay, this is not saying, and exactly what you're talking about, that's what this is. This would create the methodology for a permitting process. Because right now, there's nothing. People can do whatever they want, and you don't know until after the fact. Now, let me just say one more thing. When you talk about, now I did mention that the house in question, it's not in Bellingham, but it could easily be. It's not very far. And the woman is advertising 14 to 16 people can sleep in the house. Now, I'll remind you that her septic system is defunct, but it is a 3-bedroom system, and that's all it would be. So what happens is, and this is the stress that it would have on the lake, because I can tell you exactly what's going on. These people are on vacation. And so 14 to 16 people that are there paying quite a tidy sum invite their friends. So they're utilizing the lake, they're utilizing the septic system, they're utilizing a well in this case. So I think that it could potentially have a direct effect on the lake. But again, this is not to prevent them or preclude them from coming in, but it's, from having those types of businesses in town. However, it's saying that this is the methodology that needs to be done. This is what we need to do. We need to go through a process. Right now, there is no process. So anybody can do it at any time without anybody's notification. So I just wanted to make that clear. This is not a regulation that would say, no, they're illegal.
Yeah, I see it in the motion in the warrant, a special permit. So,
Right.
so a person can apply for a special permit, and then you can put a limit on the number of guests that would be utilizing a short-term rental.
I think that they need like more guidance, like on what they could do to increase their number of guests if they wanted to, like something that says, you have to have a septic system capable of, holding double the size of your house, or something as an example, and just more like information instead of just saying when they get to the special permit part, like, sorry, you can't do that, after they've been going through it for like a year, when they could just see it like in the regulations and start working on it themselves, knowing that.
I actually have to say, again, if I may speak.
Sure.
I do find it kind of interesting that the board or members of the board are taking that kind of attack, because I am personally not a person that likes over regulation. However, in this particular case, like I said, without some sort of a bylaw in place, people have carte blanche to do whatever they want to do. And I don't think that's what you want, because when you talk about stress, the stress on the wildlife, yes, this is a catch and release lake, but the more people that are catching and releasing, which personally I don't understand the point of that, because you're releasing an injured fish back into the water in my eyes, but there's more of that going on. There's much more traffic on the lake. There's much more potential for other wildlife to be harmed, because again, these people come from wherever they come from and have no attachment to the lake at all. I don't know if you have problems at Silver Lake, but we've had problems here about people. We have swans that die every year, ducks that die every year from fishing lines. We have BB gun issues. We have all those kinds of things. So the more people you bring in, the more potential there is for that as well. Plus, they bring in boats from other locations that have God knows what kind of debris on them, that they're bringing into lakes that we are trying, as the town lakes are, we are also trying to keep the lake navigable, swimmable, and so on and so forth. And we spend a lot of money, and it's our money. It's what we collect and do. That's what pays for the cleansing of the lake, the deweeding of the lake. So my
I think
point
that's
is
a good point sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I think that's a good
Yeah.
point about the boat especially. And
Mhm.
like, I would be, except I'd like to have that like in the regulations or in our bylaws that we have just in
But
general,
it doesn't
not
need,
just
it
for
doesn't need to be
Airbnb.
because, but when they go through the process, they will have to come to you. And you have those bylaws and you have those kinds of regulations in place. You understand what I mean? We can't have a bylaw that's going to describe all of that because this encompasses all departments really, because it's planning, it's zoning, it's you guys, and so we need a place to start is my point. And the more detail we put in, the longer it's going to take to get this process through. And I'm telling you, it's imminent. We have 2 properties right now that are being on the Bellingham side of the lake that they're entertaining the same type of deal. The same crew is purchasing them. They buy them under different names, but they're the same people. So, that's why I'm trying to get this through quickly, because we need to start somewhere. A bylaw can be modified, as you all know. But if we have nothing to work with, we're going to be hard pressed to stop the people from doing these things because it's basically, they can just do it.
Okay. I think I understand a little better now.
Well, we haven't heard from Brian. Brian, what do you, I mean,
Well, I think he has some good ideas with it, but I look at it from the other side where I have rented B&B properties, and if I had to rent it for 30 days, obviously you can't do it.
no, it'd be less than 30 days. So it could be 5 days, it could be 2 days, it could be a week, a weekend. Well, I mean, we don't know. And the way it's written,
once someone gets a permit to do this, a special use permit or whatever, they can do that for 5 days, for a weekend, for a night.
yeah, I mean,
But they will have gone through the process of getting that dispensation, let's say.
So it says authorizing the zoning board of appeals with associated due process, applicable board reviews and permitting. So historically, would that require something from the Board of Health if you have more people living in the house than the septic system?
It should, because the septic system, if it's built for 3 bedrooms, they usually consider 6 people, but of course it's going to be more than that. They understand on occasions it's going to be more than that. But if you take what I'm describing here, I mean, it's a moot point because the system's dead, but she has a 3-bedroom septic system and she has 14 to 16 people in there. Well, see, if you had a review of this, then whatever board is the appropriate one, and I think it would be the zoning board, it could be the Board of Health, it could be whatever, would be able to say, okay, we'll grant you this, but you can have no more than 8 guests or whatever the magic number is, as opposed to having nothing.
Okay, so there would be no review by the commission for an application for this. However, there would be review by the commission if people were to start building structures or digging in the backyard or building walls. I mean, that comes under our jurisdiction anyway. And
right.
If we hear something from someone, hey, somebody's out there building a wall in the water, we show up with an enforcement order and they remove it.
Yep.
If necessary. But so, I mean, I don't know if we have a consensus. I know I will be at town meeting and I'm going to support this because I don't want to have to be fighting at Silver Lake or at Arcan Park to where we've invested an enormous amount. I've invested an amount of personal effort and time. I mean, I was there when Arcan Park was purchased. I was there when Silver Lake was purchased. I have a history with these properties and I'd hate to see them degraded in any way. So, I mean, unless somebody has something to add, I don't sense a real consensus unless people want to tell me something.
I'm good.
Cliff, you said before, will this be the first time we're kind of having an input on a sort of bylaw like this?
Yeah, no, well, we don't normally get involved in zoning bylaws because really, historically, it's a land use issue. But where this might, obviously, if you own a piece of property and there's a bylaw change that would affect it, you're going to be invested in it. So as property owners, with lots of housing units on our property, I thought it was important enough for the presentation and to alert people to the fact that, it's something we want to consider. Yeah, I certainly do.
Okay.
Especially considering there's absolutely no regulatory authority now whatsoever.
Right.
Cliff, can I say one more thing on that? I just feel that the town of Blackstone hasn't done their job, because I'm sure if you get 16 people renting a house on a lake in Blackstone, that the Board of Health could clamp down on.
Well, that's possible, but I don't want to be in a position where we have to be seeking enforcement when we can regulate prior to the event. I think that's what this is attempting to do.
Can I just address that one issue, Mr. Chairman? That the issue is, in the example that you gave, if you don't have some sort of a bylaw in place that does require a process, that could happen. I could rent my house right now and nobody would know about it. If my neighbors complained, I could say, well, I'm having company. I have a right to have company, I mean, because don't forget, without some sort of regulation in place, these people are not obligated to pay taxes. They're not obligated to do anything, which they're supposed to be doing per Mass General Law, because that is a lodging situation. So this whole thing will give you the idea that they are doing this and something's happening. So you do have to watch out for it. And I know there's many times when people do things that you never see. I get it. But this is another example where you could possibly get in on the ground floor rather than waiting until after the issue has become an issue. But I understand if you, as a board, if you're not comfortable, that's fine. I'm basically asking for anybody that's willing and personally to support it. Because again, I just think it's a common sense kind of a thing. Whether it's the zoning board that does it or whatever, whichever board will be part of the deal. But you guys, I think, will be part of the deal if it's on a body of water.
All right. So are there enough people is there anyone who thinks the commission should support this as a group?
I am interested in the commission supporting it. However, this is my first time on the commission where we've come across anything like this. So I'm not sure about, the zoning commission and the commission's cooperation.
Don't feel badly, though, because in 36 years, I think it's only happened to us a couple of times. Okay. All right. Well, Larry, thank you for your.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And again, I would just ask you individually if you, if you think that it's something that is a good idea, that you would support it at town meeting.
I'll do it.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye now.
Night.
Good night. Okay, I think that's it.
Just need to question to see who is going to be available for that October 2nd site walk so that we can get a couple of permits signed.
I think Neil and Mike said they were good, but I don't want to put words in. Well, Mike's not here. I'll put words in his mouth. Mike will be there.
Where are we parking for that?
Probably we'll park on Center Street. I certainly don't want to park on South Main Street.
Couldn't park at the VFW, huh?
Well, we could park at the VFW. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, it's a good idea.
All right.
So Brian will make it.
Yeah, I can make it.
I think, Neil, are you going to be able to make that? Iffy. I think Mike said he could make it. Noel,
I'm sorry, when is the date of this again?
October 2nd. It's a Saturday.
That is my boyfriend's birthday party day. I will be away. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay.
Have fun.
Yeah, have fun.
Thanks.
I'd rather be at a party too.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna need somebody to stop by to sign this stuff.
Before the 2nd, we're going to need a couple of signatures because it looks like we're going to be a little short. So please make arrangements. You know, we work on these permits and now we close this hearing. So we're going to need to get this signed.
I can probably, I can be around this. I don't know if you'll have them ready for this Saturday.
It's already prepared.
Yeah, the problem is it's Saturday. We've got problems.
Yeah. I have conflicts this Saturday.
Yeah, we both do.
All right, well, we'll see what happens next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds
Fair
good.
enough.
Thank you.
And if it looks like it's going to be a problem, Ann will send out an all hands on deck
Panic.
call. Maybe Ariane can come for lunch or something like
Please,
that. I
somebody
don't know.
help me.
All right.
We did it.
Yeah.
We did it.
Okay. So motion to adjourn.
I do have one other thing while
Okay.
before that walk. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but should there be a couple cows in Wenger's field by the wired area? I thought that was supposed to be all small animals.
No, he's entitled to 2 large animals.
I didn't think.
It was part of the agricultural permit.
I got it.
Large animals.
I hadn't seen them till.
No, it's probably brand new. I was hoping for llamas, but we got cows.
Yeah. Oh well. That's all.
Okay. So, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I will poll you individually. All right, I'm going to stop recording.